Hey guys, it's Ellie again. This week I'm going to be showing you how to do age makeup, which is another one of the fun things you can do with just the things in your personal kit. So to begin, I will take off my glasses, and I've already done my base, but you'll want to do that just like I showed you last week to start. As you can see, I haven't filled in my eyebrows yet, and I also didn't fully base out under my eyes because I'm just going to use what I've already got to my advantage. For the brows, we won't actually be filling them in for this because if you'll notice, often elderly people's eyebrows will start to thin a little bit, so we don't want to fill them in because it'll make them too thick and not very realistic looking. If you want, you can get your quad and use a little tiny bit of the highlight on a brush. This is just a brush I have around my house, and just brush it through the brows a little bit to kind of make them lighten up a little bit. I like to kind of pat it out with my finger as well. You don't need to do this, but just kind of a fun extra thing. If you have a gray or silvery color, that would work great as well, but really anything just light. There we go. And then we will start on the lines. So, like I said, base out first, and then you'll want to take your brush and your brown contour shade. I like to start with what I call the jowls, which are here. So you'll just do some lines like that. I'll make this one a little bit darker. And when I'm doing age makeup, I often will put all the lines on my face first, then go and blend them in with a sponge. So first thing I like to do is that. And a lot of these we will be putting in our normal contour spots like we learned last week, but some we won't. Like this is not something you would normally do. Okay, so after those, you can do the cheekbone line, which we would normally just do a line like that, but this one we'll be bringing it down to give the illusion of sagging, because that's what happens to your skin when you get older. And again on the other side, I like to do mine pretty light just so I can make sure they match up, especially right now because I am using my phone as a mirror. Okay, those are pretty good for now. And if you want, you can do the chin. It's not necessary, but I often do it because I feel like it balances out well. And then another one I like to do is the eye bags. So you can see I have a natural line and there is a bone. You can feel right about here, there's a bone, and underneath it's squishy. So basically right on the line between the squish and the bone, you'll want to put a line. Kind of like that is good. And you can, like I said, use your original ones as kind of a guide, but it'll go a little bit lower. You can see I'm already starting to look a little bit older and we haven't even blended or done the highlight yet. Alright. And of course, how light or dark you do this can affect how old you look. You can also choose to do only certain areas. For example, often the eyes start to age first, both in these spots and up here we call crow's feet. Now these you can be a little bit more precise because we won't blend those out as much for stage makeup. If you were doing some sort of special effects for like film or something, you couldn't just leave those lines, of course, but from the stage it will be okay. And often, not always, but often, older characters will wear glasses as well, so it'll kind of cover up some of the harshness there. Alright, I'm going to switch back to my other brush because it's a bit more precise, and then I'll do the in between the eyebrow line. So I like to squish my eyebrows together like this. It looks a little bit ridiculous, but then you can see where that line is. So do this, and then just kind of trace the line, and then I like to do a second smaller one right there. I think I'll clean that one up a little bit on my own. Alright, so these are where I like to start. I'll do these, blend them, and then we'll go back to the forehead in a couple of minutes. So I'll come back when I've blended mine a little bit more. Okay, so while I was gone, I didn't really change too much. I just blended some areas, added a little bit more on the cheek ones and the under eye, and blended out this a little bit. Mostly I just needed to get up close to a mirror because it's pretty hard to do this when you don't have your glasses on. So the next thing that I like to do is lips. Again, this is one that's kind of optional. Not everybody does this, and it would depend on the age, but if you've ever seen somebody that's pretty up there in age, their lips get wrinkly too. I have pretty big lips, so this is a good example. But if you want to make some sort of face to get some natural lines, I like to do that. You can do like this. It looks really hilarious, but it will get some lines. Okay, and again, start with the brown. And you can just put little lines all around. These lines are going to be sharper. We won't blend them as much. Ah, I got some on my tooth. I did also just put on some lip balm before this, so it's not wanting to stick. Okay, that's good enough for now. I'll go back in and fix them in a little bit. Then finally, what personally for me are the hardest ones, but I think they really tie it all together, is the forehead line. So because I'm not very old, my forehead doesn't have a lot of lines, but if I raise my eyebrows, I can see a little bit in there. You can use them as a guide. It's definitely easier on another person to use them as a guide, I think. And then on myself, I'll just trace them a bit. This isn't the best brush, but I don't have a really, really precise one. If you've got one, that would be perfect. But you'll just put some lines all over the forehead. You can curve them a little bit. These ones are pretty hard to make look realistic on a young person, I think. But it's also really funny. That's one of my favorite days at CET, is seeing all of you guys with your crazy age lines. Okay. And you don't want to do too much. And these, again, aren't going to be blended as much as like the eye ones and stuff. The eye ones actually aren't blended as much as you would think they'd be either. So I'm going to go fix these one more time, and then we'll come back for highlight. Okay, so once you're happy with where you've blended it, these forehead lines are not my favorite, but I think it's time to just stop, because sometimes you gotta stop while you're ahead. You can take a little bit of your highlight on a brush. Mine looks dirty, but it's okay. And just like we did with the contour, we'll put it above everywhere. So we'll tap it up here on both sides. Below the chin, that one's a different one below. I like to do both sides of these just to really make the lines look deeper, because essentially that's all we're doing with this, is making all of the brown is supposed to sink in and look deeper and saggier and lower. And then on the lips, put it on either side of all your lines. These I will be blending in because my lips are so dark that the brown doesn't show up, but the white does. With the lips, instead of rubbing or something, because you do want the lines to be there, I like to just take my whole finger and just kind of stamp off some of the color. I'll go back in a little bit more later and fix it, because right now I'm a little bit stripy. And then my favorite one to do is these eye bags. So you really want to put quite a bit of highlight, because if you think of, I would recommend looking up a picture of somebody to do this, or maybe you have somebody in your house who has some good material to work from, we'll just say that. The eyes will really, really puff up and then go really deep. Again, dirty hand. So we put quite a bit of highlight there. And then with the crow's feet lines, again, kind of just in between to make the lines pop, because these ones won't really be blended. Okay. These ones, mostly above. You can do in between if you like. I'll do a little bit. Go back in and blend those. And then with the forehead ones, you'll pretty much do lines again because these won't be blended as much. So you just basically just trace over the top, and we'll be doing some like kind of dabbing like I did on the lips. Okay, I'm gonna do the rest of this and then we'll come back to blend. Alright, so you can see I blended all my stuff a little bit, and I like to honestly just use clean fingers or a sponge for a lot of this, like the lips. Just kind of tapping it out like that. My lips didn't work super well, but you guys will probably be better. The lines up top, any that are just lines, like the eyes and the forehead, I like to take the edge of my triangle sponge and just lightly rub, or again, a finger. The only thing that you gotta be careful of is you don't want your finger to get white and brown and then mix it, because that'll just turn out very bad. But this is the overall look. I'm pretty happy with it. I would recommend doing this on somebody else. If you guys have someone in your house that will allow you to borrow their face for a little bit, I think especially with age makeup, it's a lot easier when you are looking straight at someone rather than in a mirror or a phone in my case, because you can really just see what you're working with and use the natural lines that they already have in your face. Yes, a lot of you guys are young. If you're using a sibling, they're going to be young too. But we all do. If you smile, you get these lines. A lot of people have some form of eye bag or dark under eye circles, and the forehead ones, they can just raise them up like that. But really, you just want to go until you're happy with it. Whether that's just some light shading everywhere, maybe you're like in your 40s or 50s, not too old, or if you really, really want to go hard, make it look like you're like really up there in age, maybe the oldest person in the world, that's also totally an option. But I think that age makeup, once you know the places to put it, you can really just go crazy and do whatever you like. So again, just a little quick recap. I like to do these and these first, chin if you're doing it, under eyes, crow's feet, and then the forehead between the eyebrows area. You can do lips if you want. Something I might recommend, if you have lips that are dark like mine, take a little bit, just a little bit, of the highlight on your finger and tap it on first to kind of lighten your overall lip color, and then you can go from there, and that'll work a lot better. Okay, so blended mine a little bit, did some more highlight. I'm pretty happy with it. I prefer to do age makeup on other people. I think it works a lot better. So if you guys have somebody in your house that will allow you to do that, I would definitely recommend that, at least the first few times, because it's a lot easier when you're able to look straight at them and really see what you're working with, rather than trying to do it in a mirror or a phone or something. It makes it a lot more difficult. And once you know the places to put all of your contour and highlight like I've showed you, I think it's pretty easy, because you can just go until you're happy with it. If you want to be just a little bit old or really, really old, that's an option. This is, I would say, somewhere in the middle, especially for stage, because a lot of these lines, like the under eyes, look pretty harsh. If you saw me on the street, you'd be like, what's going on with her? But from the stage, not all of this would even be seen, I don't think. And like I said, these are not maybe the oldest glasses, but you can see my glasses cover up that and cover up some of the eyes, and this makes it look a lot more natural, I guess, or just kind of covers it up a little bit. But honestly, if you just keep practicing and really, like I said, work until you're happy with it, you can get something that you're proud of. And I would love to see what you guys come up with. If you want to email me, it's just my name, Ellie Berthoff, number 2. So ellieberthoff2@gmail.com. Berthoff is Berthoff. Or I know some of you have me on Instagram or Facebook or something. Send me your pictures. I love seeing age makeup, especially on you guys. I think it's so funny, especially the younger students, when you're pretty little, but your face tells a different story. So good luck. I'm sure you guys will get awesome results, and I can't wait to see it. Bye bye. Have a good week.